We are back, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a prediction analysis of the Cavs opening lineup, or at least what it possibly could be. There's not really, I say it's a prediction, but I mean, really, most of this is pretty cut and dry. There may be a little bit of wiggle room when we get down to the nitty gritty of it, but especially with the acquisition of Donovan Mitchell and all the pieces that were shipped out in order to acquire Donovan Mitchell, saying something about like the prediction for how this lineup is going to go has gotten extremely easier. At the point guard, it's obviously going to be Darius Garland handling the duties there. He's going to be the one with running the offense with the ball in his hand most often, usually. But Donovan Mitchell is definitely going to have a hand in that too. Donovan Mitchell, obviously, they got him to really provide that superstar, just being able to score at will ability that was kind of missing from the Cavs last year. You noticed it especially with the lack of point guard depth, and especially when Garland was not on the court. You were really able to tell that the Cavs really needed somebody who could just like take the ball and score kind of from the perimeter at will. And they tried to kind of get in front of that with the Karis LeVert trade, and that could still pay dividends as he's still on the team. But it didn't quite work out as well for the Cavs as maybe they would have hoped, as they didn't make it out of the play-in tournament. But definitely with Donovan Mitchell, that seems to have solved that problem, at least on the surface. I guess it's possible that he gets injured, or I guess if he just becomes a bum out of nowhere, then maybe that's technically a possibility. But Donovan Mitchell should shore up a lot of those issues of the guard depth not being the best. And Ricky Rubio, they did re-sign him, but he's probably not going to be able to play until very much later in the season. At the small forward, I'm guessing the Cavs are going to roll with Isaac Okoro, at least on the opening night. Mostly because with Karis, you could start Karis LeVert there, I suppose. But I feel like with Garland and Mitchell holding most of the offense there, and I'm not too convinced about LeVert's off-ball talent at the NBA level quite yet. I feel like Karis LeVert just is kind of a redundancy, at least on the starting lineup, where Isaac Okoro gives the Cavs a more of a defensive edge. Definitely helps the starting five there be a little bit better, well-rounded, especially in the backcourt. I'm guessing they're going to do the same thing they did with Evan Mobley this year as they did last year, where Evan Mobley would mostly start out at the 4 and Jarrett Allen would play center. I'm guessing that's how they're going to do that again. Maybe you could argue for long-term development that Mobley should get some playing time at center to start out with. But this is now a Cavs team, again, with the Donovan Mitchell trade, where developing the young talent to be the best they could possibly be in like 3 to 5 years is now a side quest. That would be like a nice thing, like a cherry on top. But they made it very clear by trading pretty much all of their draft picks that the goal is to essentially just win now and win as much as possible. And if they think that Jarrett Allen at center and Evan Mobley at power forward at the 4, if that gives them the best chance to win the most amount of games, then they're going to do that, whether it's the best thing for Mobley's development or not. I feel like Evan Mobley will thrive on the Cavs pretty much wherever he plays, as long as he's in the front court somewhere. I feel like he'll be fine. He's gonna, especially if Love comes in for Allen, they can move Mobley to the 5. Then, he'll be good. Evan Mobley, we saw last year as a rookie, he will be fine. He will develop. He is only going to get better, you would hope, from his rookie season. That's really encouraging for this Cavs team. As far as some of the bench players, again, I don't think Karis LeVert makes it on the starting roster, but he is definitely going to be one of the first guys off of the bench. I can say the same thing for Cedi Osman. I mean, I guess he could technically start at small forward. I guess if you're clinically insane, I guess he's the best starting option there. Cedi Osman has he obviously has a spot on this team. I'm not saying they should trade him or anything like that, but I don't think he should be sniffing the starting lineup barring any injuries. Kevin Love is still around, so he can provide that veteran leadership. That role that he kind of fell into last year was a nice, pleasant surprise for the Cavs, where Kevin Love was still capable of, I think he had like a couple 30-point games. He was still capable of coming off of the bench and providing a spark when they need one. So that's nice for the Cavs. And a veteran backup center in Robin Lopez isn't bad. You don't really want him playing big minutes, but I guess in mop-up duty when Jarrett Allen needs a rest, and then he's a guy who's been in the league. He knows the business. He's been around. That's nice. And right now, the backup point guard that I see is Raul Neto. Not gonna lie, I've never heard of this guy before. Before this video, I looked up his stats last season. He averaged 7.5 points per game, about 3 assists and 2 rebounds. So kind of a backup point guard who, he's whatever. He's a roster filler, and that's fine, especially if they're just waiting around for Ricky Rubio to come back. So just to summarize, I have Garland, Mitchell, Okoro, Mobley, and Jared Allen to start, and then guys like LeVert and Osman and Love being your kind of premium bench options, and then Robin Lopez can come in, and the rest are just kind of the bench warmers there. This is probably the only video I'm going to do as far as like a Cavs lineup preview, because unlike the teams like hockey teams and the NFL teams and whatever, there's only 5 guys starting, and there's only like 12 roster players total. So there's like their whole roster is like the size of like a starting offense for like football teams, and like an entire forward group for NHL teams. So I think I'll just leave it at that. Thank you all for enjoying the video. If you made it this far, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw and you'd like to see more of it. Let me know what you think about the Cavs' potential lineup. If I got anything wrong, if you would make some changes that I didn't mention down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you at the next one.